You all, I apologize for that. I don't know why my phone, when somebody's calling the phone, that it's knocking me offline. I have no idea. So for those of you all who are out there, please jump back on with me. I am so sorry. Don't know why this mess is happening. Malik says that I need to hit. I'm back, you all. Oh, wow. I knocked everybody offline. Am I back on? Hop on and see if you see me. I mean, if you can hear me. I had to go down. I've got to find out how to do that. Okay, come on. I've got to remember how to go out here and get off. Dang it. So now that means I've lost everybody. Okay, here's Robin. Said Robin. Robin. She said Robin was trying to get on. Yeah, I've got to figure out how to do that, how to go do not disturb, because that's what they're doing. They're calling in, and when they call in on this phone, it's knocking off my microphone. And I'm unable to get it back. I don't know why Robin didn't come up. It said bring Robin on. This is insane. Robin answer. Perfect.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your...
Oh, darn weekend. I don't know. I was trying to call Robin. I can't get on my phone to call her for sure. I guess I should be texting her as opposed to calling her. No, when I go... See, I see... I lost it. Can people not get back on with me? Malik, are you on with me? Oh. Malik, can you hear me? Malik, can you hear me? Hold on, baby. Okay, you hear me now?
Yeah, there's no longer.
Oh, okay. All right, but I don't see him, so I don't know. All right. Hopefully, Robin will be able to join me. She'll probably have to join me by phone. I knocked Rocky off completely. I'm supposed to have Lisa come on at 8:30, but I wanted to finish with him before I brought her on. So, is there some reason why I cannot see anybody? Oh, okay. Rocky, you're back. You hear me. I cannot. Let me see. Rocky, go down and come back. Maybe I can finish it. Because I do see you. I see that I see your message. Ask to join me again, please. I had to just go down completely and get off. So I know not to touch my phone even if it's ringing. Because when I try and get people off of it, I think that's what's killing my microphone. I see and hear you. But I want to see and hear you. So try and join me again, please. There's a few more questions I'd like to ask you about. And then I want you to tell people how they can find you, because a couple of people have put that into the chat. And April, thank you for putting up the information about the walk and where it's taking place. Good morning, Angela. So Rocky, you can put in to the chat how people can reach you. Several people put that up before we got disconnected before. Good morning, Gretchen, again. Rocky, can you try and get off and come back, please? Send me a link, a request for you to join me. Malik, I was asking you, Malik, about what's going on over in your county.
We haven't seen too much. Well, at least I haven't seen too much as far as people voting. I've been a little preoccupied, but I mean, I went and voted early. It's been a couple scandals now because we got two black Democrats running for city commission and county commission who have both been endorsed by Keith Perry, and it's causing a little chaos amongst the electorate because black people and Keith Perry don't really sit well together. So that's been an issue as of lately. But other than that, people are active, people are voting. So we'll just see what happens.
So you're saying, okay, vote Rocky for PD.com. Rocky, can you come back on or call in on the phone? The number is 813-573-1567. Good morning, Black Caucuses endorse Rocky. Join us at hcdbc.org. 813-573-1567, Rocky, and we will continue our conversation. But so you're telling me that Keith Perry endorsed two people for the same race?
No, so there's one black guy running for city commission and then one black guy running for county commission, and he's endorsed those two individuals. One of the texts that went out, because there was posts about it, was that the guy who's running for city commission would help fight against the liberal extremists or whatever, and he supports the DRU authority that was passed by the legislature last session. And that's causing some problems, and so now there's this fight because a lot of people want to support the black man. I was originally supporting the black man until I saw the message, because I don't get what Keith Perry and his policies, nor the GRU authority. So it's been interesting shakeup this last week, because the endorsement just became public this week, and so now a lot of people are scrambling trying to figure out what to do.
And that's because Keith Perry is a Republican, and if Keith Perry is endorsing you, it sounds to me like he may think that you're on his team.
Yeah.
That's crazy. See, we are not with you, Keith Perry. So do you know any of the numbers and what they look like over there in your all's area?
I haven't looked into it. So I haven't got something I have to look into, but I know that when I went to supervise the elections office earlier this week to vote, for that day, my ballot was 445. So
that's all?
Yeah.
Hold on a second, Malik. I'm going to dial in Rocky. Hold on a second. Rocky, please get off live. I'm bringing you on the phone. Good morning, Darlene, my dear. How are you? And then I'm going to have both Malik and Rocky up on the phone in just a second.
Hello?
Hey, Rocky, hold on. Okay. Do I have you on, Rocky? I have both you and Malik on. But, Rocky, I want you to tell the people how they can find you. I know you put your contact in at 813-434-3808. That's your cell phone number?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of information on my website, which is voterockyforpd.com. But, like I said, I'll be accessible. If you call me, it doesn't mean I'm going to represent your case actually, but I will look behind the scenes and see what's going on. If there's an issue, we'll try to get it right.
So even if you don't represent somebody, you have an opportunity to assist in any kind of other way? I mean, the reason you would not represent somebody is if they were over income?
No. I can represent anyone in the office, but, I have a lot of administrative duties. What I'm saying is because I'm there now at the office as the Chief Operations Officer. So
right.
What I'm saying is people will call me sometimes. If things are going right, people don't call me. But if there's something going on in the case and it just doesn't sit right with you, give me a call.
Okay.
And let me look behind the scenes. Let me talk to the attorney. Let me see what's going on. And if there's something we should be doing that we're not doing, I will ensure that we're doing that.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, so what type of cases does the PD office, the public defender's office, represent?
Everything from your simple traffic charge all the way up to capital murder, where they're seeking the death penalty. And we have more of those cases right now than we've ever had. We went from 2 to about 18, over this change in administration.
Are we talking about the change in administration at the Andrew Warren's office, at the state attorney's
That's
office?
right.
Then the
Correct.
Okay.
That's been the single biggest area where, we've really been hit as far, because those death penalty cases really take the most work, they take the most money, they take the most time, and they take the most resources.
So we have increased from 2 to 18. I mean, are these these are awful types of murders? I mean, what do you think is pushing more death cases to you all, as opposed to what we had before? I mean, are people doing worse crimes than before, or are the crimes the same and we're just being a little bit more harder on individuals? What do you, as a public defender, what do you think is happening while we have this rise all of a sudden?
Well,
If you can answer
they're
that.
they're looked at through a more severe lens. I don't think don't get me wrong, the cases are not pretty,
Right.
but I think a lot of them, there's room to not have them
Death
be
penalty.
seeking the death penalty. But that's just what's happened. It's kind of like when the Ober administration was there.
Yes.
There was a higher amount of death penalty cases,
Right.
and then Mr. Warren came in, and it's not that he wasn't tough, but we certainly had to work to provide mitigation to get him to not seek the death penalty.
Right.
But I think there is a more inclination right now to seek the death penalty, and I'm not in favor of the death penalty.
Neither am I.
But looking at it just from the lens of resources, and we have to do everything that we can do on those cases. We do a full background of starting from birth all the way to where they are now, to kind of gather the mitigation to show this person is not necessarily an evil person. They went through things that you would not believe as a child and growing up, and just didn't have the resources that many of us had, and that's how you try to get them to not seek the death penalty. But that's the single biggest hit, at least that our office has had, is to try to keep up with that.
Wow. Well, listen, now tell people, give them a closing statement on why it is that they should be voting for you today. Today, tomorrow, and Tuesday.
Sure. Well, first of all, Julie Holt, our public defender of 32 years, has endorsed me. She could have endorsed anyone. She chose me because she knows that I can carry this office forward, create a seamless transition, yet put my own unique change on at the office. I'm endorsed by the Black Democratic Caucus. I'm endorsed by the Florida Sentinel Bulletin, and I believe, and our Senator Arthenia Joyner. And I believe that's because they know that I have been in the community. This is not an opportunity for me. This is a calling. I hope that everyone will let me please serve. Please let me serve you.
Okay. Well, you have heard Mr. Rocky. Rocky, pronounce your last name so I don't butcher it. Brancado. I was close. Didn't want to butcher you, though. So you have heard Mr. Brancado this morning give you the reasons why it is you should vote for him. Hey, I am asking you all to please go out and cast your ballots for either one of the candidates. I've held back because I know that as the state rep, I kind of just said, okay, I will not get into my Democratic races because I am also a Democrat and looking to go back to Tallahassee. I know that Rocky is a good person and has done his work well. I know that Julie has endorsed him and so many others. But I need you all to look into our candidates, know your people, talk to them, give them that opportunity to tell you and explain to you why it is that you should be supporting them. So, Rocky, I really appreciate you coming on this morning and giving us a reason to go out and cast a ballot for you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I very much appreciate it.
You're absolutely welcome. Bye-bye. Malik.
Yeah.
Okay, my love. What's her name? Lisa McLean is supposed to be calling in. I was hoping she could have come up on Facebook. Now I'm looking for Lisa on my list, and why I don't have a telephone number, I don't know. But I'm looking for it because I was going to reach out to her. In all of the races, you all, where there were 2 Democrats, I decided that I would not endorse publicly because I wanted you all, as you do with all of these candidates, I need you all to know who you're voting for. I need you to be doing your research, doing your homework, talking to them. It's hard for me when there's 2 Democrats in a race to make that call. I just think that those calls should be made by our people. And I know that, people who are not sitting elected officials, and some of us who are sitting elected officials do make those calls. I have basically not done that in any of the Democratic races. I've just stayed out of the races. You all may know that Mr. Stanley Campbell and Debbie Marcel Powell is running. Those are 2 Dems. I need you all to be talking to people. Oh, Lisa, I don't need you on here. I need you to send me a request. Where I need you is on my phone at 813-573-1567 if you cannot send me a request to come on live. So, please do. Dial in 813-573-1567. I want the people to hear you. I want them to hear who you are and what it is that you've been doing. And they can make their determination. But the number is 813-573-1567. Come down off of the face. There we go. Hold on, Malie. Lisa?
Yes.
Thank you. I could not find your number. I'm up on the site. And I'm like, where is she? But yeah, I did not see a request from you on Facebook Live. And why, I don't know. But my system went down because people kept calling my telephone. And they could not hear me. But let's talk a little bit about you and why you want to become our public defender for Hillsborough County.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, darling.
I am happy to answer that question for you. So I've been a lawyer here in Hillsborough County for 34 years. I've been on both sides of the courtroom, both as a prosecutor and a public defender, also as an assistant statewide prosecutor with the Attorney General. And I've been running my own firm since 2006, doing solely criminal defense work. So I've had an opportunity to interact with all parts of the community, and I think I bring a fresh perspective to the office, and I am looking forward to the opportunity to serve full-time in that capacity.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your public service and what you've been doing out in the community and your experiences in the community.
Aside from the obvious service to the community by representing folks that are accused of and being prosecuted for crimes, I have been on the appointed list representing indigent people in both state and federal court for over 15 years. That gives me an opportunity to give back to the community, aside from, the many cases that I handle pro bono, being in the schools, doing mock trials, donating money to various organizations, being politically active, and, raising 4 kids who, it's quite important, in my opinion, to raise good human beings that will also, in turn, give back to the community. And I've been pretty successful in doing that. I have children who range in age from 23 to 31 in my unique blended family. And all of those 4 children have graduated from college and are fully productive members of society and giving back in their own way.
Okay. Just tell me a little bit about what type of qualities do you believe that a public defender should have or possess? I guess is a good word.
Did you say
qualities? Yeah.
You broke up there.
Yeah. What qualities do you think a public defender should possess to be a good public defender?
I think that you need to be compassionate and passionate about the work. That empathy is such an important quality to have, that you're able to put yourself in the shoes of not only those that you're representing and truly understanding all facets of their personality and the things that have brought them to the representation of the public defender's office, but also to have a real understanding of what the assistant public defenders that are on the front lines every day, defending the Constitution and defending indigent accused, that you have a true understanding of what it feels like to do that job. And I did that job for 4 years, and I know how difficult it can be. I know how hard they work, and I have a real appreciation for the level of support that I think that they need, because that job is difficult. I think you also need to be respectful to the client, that you need to treat them with compassion and empathy and respect, and it's important to be responsive to the people. You have my pledge. You've got my cell phone, 813-464-0037. That hasn't changed in 25, 30 years. I don't intend to change it. That's my personal cell. I give it out to anyone who wants to contact me. I think it's super important for the public defender's office to be responsive, and not just the elected public defender, but also every person that works there, every attorney that works there, the investigators, the social services folks. We need to be prepared and ready to respond at every turn.
April just put a message into the chat, and it's concerning the bill that just passed on July 1 that allows law enforcement the ability to arrest youth based on probable cause. What do you think about that? So that the community.
I'm sorry, I can't see that. I had to log out of Facebook.
Yeah, no, I'm reading it to you. I'm reading it to you. It says that it allows law enforcement the ability to arrest youth based on probable cause without a warrant. And do you feel it's important for government agencies, the state attorney, public defenders, and DJJ, to initiate PSAs to educate the public? What's your thought on that?
Probable cause is a pretty low standard, but that's always been the case. Law enforcement only needs probable cause. The state attorney's office is meant to be the agency that determines whether or not law enforcement that arrest was appropriate, and whether or not that case should actually be brought. And they look at a different standard of whether or not they can prove that case to a jury or some other trier of fact beyond a reasonable doubt. I think that whether we're talking about young people or adults, I have the belief that the role of the public defender's office needs to continue to be on the forefront of meeting with the community, of interacting with the community, of making sure that people know what the rules are, that they understand what the role of the public defender is, and to get involved in education of the community. And one of the ways that I'd like to do that is, and I've said this many times on the trail, and we've been campaigning a long time now, about a year and a half.
Yes.
It's been an interesting run, but one of the things that I would really like to do is I would like to have an app on the phone that people can install and have unfettered access to the things that the public defender's office is doing in the community. There will be information there about every imaginable thing, and so that increases transparency and accountability. But I also want the clients to be able to have easier and smoother access to their police reports, to all of the evidence in their case, to see a picture of the public defender that represents them, and to have immediate contact information for that person, so that we're never hearing that we're not getting those calls at the top level saying, hey, I haven't had any contact with my PD, or I don't know who my PD is. Because these young lawyers, they work so hard, and they need to, the public needs to be able to have access to them.
Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is that you believe that the public defender's office should be a place where people who've been charged with crimes that you all are representing have access to their public defender so that they know who's representing them and that kind of stuff. Is that what we're talking about?
Absolutely. I hear, when I've been out in community on the campaign trail, the two biggest, I hate to use the word complaints because, again, I am fully aware of how hard these lawyers work.
Right.
But I think that there is always room for improvement. And communication is one of the concerns that I'm hearing from the community. I'm also hearing about, the issue of whether or not the public defender's office is trying enough cases and whether or not, too many people are pleading when perhaps they shouldn't be. And, I'm happy to address that on sort of a larger scale because I think that's a big issue. And I think that the PD's office, frankly, is doing a pretty good job in trying cases. I mean, I'm in the courtrooms every day. I have been for 34 years. And I see the public defender's office trying a lot of cases.
Right.
So I don't necessarily agree with that position that
they're not trying enough cases.
They're not trying cases.
Yeah,
but I think that what we're talking about is I think that a lot of times people feel as though they're being forced into taking pleas. And while, again, I've never seen that with my own eyes, where I think that stems from, Dianne, is this idea that there isn't enough communication. And if you walk in at a pretrial, which is essentially the date before your trial date, and you're supposed to make a decision on that date, and sometimes you have offers that are going to go away after that date, people feel like they're forced to plead.
Right, they're pressured into pleading.
Right.
Basically.
And I think that pressure comes from lack of communication because there hasn't been enough communication during the course of the case, whether the case has been going on for 3 months or 6 months or however long, it may have been, that feeling pops up at pretrial because there hasn't been enough communication. And a lot of that has to do with, tremendous caseloads, the office not being fully staffed. I mean, they are staffed for approximately 120 lawyers, and there's about 100 there now, and it's been as low as in the 80s over the last couple of years. So they're clearly moving in the right direction, but bringing in and being able to attract and retain good lawyers is really key to keep those numbers down and bring up that communication that's so important.
So today you will be in the park and people will get an opportunity to speak with you, and that is at 11:30. The park, we're asking everybody to be in the park by 11:30. Park's open at 11, but by 11:30, because exactly 12 o'clock, we will march down to C. Blythe Andrews Library, and people can cast their ballots at that point who have not voted. And if you have already voted, please join us anyway and walk down to the library with us so that you are there. It's okay. There will be food. There will be games for your children, face painting, jumpers. Bring your kids out so that they can begin to understand what this process looks like. There won't be long speeches in the park. Nobody will be doing that. Our goal is to bring people together to cast their ballots. We're asking everybody who has not voted early, please let today be the day you vote early. If it's not today, tomorrow is your last early voting day before Tuesday. Do not wait for Tuesday. You can vote anywhere in this city at an early voting site today. So we're asking people to please you all. Don't wait till the last minute, because on the last minute, so many people never get to the polls. Do you know, Lisa, where the numbers are? Hold on a second. Robin?
Hey.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm announcing it again for people to join us at the park. No later than 11:30. So that the walk begins promptly right at noon. And talking a little bit about the food. Go ahead. You want to tell them something else?
Oh, yeah. Just 2101 East MLK Boulevard. Old school is Belmont Heights.
That's right.
Our sole purpose for this is to bring awareness around voting.
Hold on, dear. Hold on. Don't hang up.
Looking at the numbers, they're always low. So our goal is to increase those numbers at C. Blythe Andrews, because when they give increase the numbers. I know. I just said on my live. I know that we are excited about Kamala. She is going to be our next president. But guess what? We have to handle business right now.
I know that's right.
Wouldn't do Kamala any good to send money, federal dollars down here to our county,
and we not
local
getting
government, and they not use it.
That's right.
So we need the right people in office here locally to receive that money.
That's
so
right.
Then we can't say that nobody's doing anything because the money that's being shipped down here is on the streets.
That's right.
So if you have already voted, you're still invited. I just ask that you bring somebody that hasn't.
That's what I've been saying. Come anyway.
That
Absolutely. On the phone with me right now, I have Lisa. So Lisa, let's wrap up. That's all right.
I can't see you.
That's all right. I know, but I'm back up live. I figured you had gone on to do something else. But Lisa, tell the community. Let's wind it up and let the community know how they can reach you today or tomorrow. She will be in the park, so you can definitely talk to her at that point, one-on-one, and ask questions of her. So go ahead, Lisa, and tell them why it is that they should be voting for you.
The public defender's office has essentially been run the same way for 30 plus years. And I think that it's time for a fresh perspective and some positive change. I've been a lawyer for 34 years. I've been on both sides. I'm well respected in the legal community, endorsed by the two most recent chief judges. And that's meaningful to me because those are people that actually see my work. These are not people that are endorsing me based on an interview or a speech. And by the way, many of the groups that have endorsed Mr. Brentano didn't even ask to interview me. So, that process is not what you think that it is. But, that's why I bring up my endorsements by chief judges and so much of the legal community, because I think that should suggest to people that I am who I say I am. Again, I can be reached on my cell phone at 813-464-0037. My website is lisaforpublicdefender.com. I will be in the park this afternoon, and I will also be at Souls to the Polls tomorrow, as well as being out at precincts, talking to people. I didn't know whether or not you wanted any numbers from me, because I have been able to pull up those numbers, if we're still talking about that. I lost you there for a second.
That's all right. You mean the numbers on how many people approximately have already voted and what the percentages look like? Yeah, run through them right quick, because I was looking at them and they were dismal in comparison to where I know we should be. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, this is as of, I want to say 2 days ago, my team sent this to me, and the grand total a few days ago was right at about 16,000 voters. In particular, C. Blythe Andrews had 537 votes cast as of a couple days ago. So we really need to, bring that up. There are other top precincts where the numbers are a little bit bigger, but I don't know that those precincts in particular, to be quite honest with you, the top 3 early voting sites are not representative of the black and brown community.
So
I think that what we're doing today and tomorrow really needs to have a big impact on voting.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. I'll see you in the park shortly. So thank you.
Look forward to it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Listen, you all, that was what I wanted to talk to you all about at the very, very beginning, the fact that our numbers are dismal. We have got to bring those numbers up in our park, at our voting site. It is critically important that we have good numbers at C. Blythe Andrews. That means that only 537 people have voted in 2 weeks, 10 days. We need thousands of folk voting at that early voting site. I don't know if maybe we're not doing a good enough job on advertising it, but it's important when your numbers are low and they're looking to cut voting sites. That will be one of the early voting sites they will cut. Then everybody will be saying, wow, we can't get in to see Blythe anymore. It's important that people turn out and vote during early voting. It's really, really important. So today we're asking you all to join us at, I like to call it Belmont Heights Little League Baseball Park, 2101 Dr. Martin Luther King. Everybody knows where the baseball park is. If you've lived here 20 minutes, you've heard about that baseball park. So come out. We'll start the march right at 12. The park will open at 11:30. We asking everybody who wants to march with us to please be present in the park. We have food vendors that will be providing food for you. We have jumpers for your children and face painting. So we want you all to bring the family out. We want you to come out and show your children what voting looks like. It's important that they get introduced to it early on. They will never forget the marches and all the things that they hear during this time in a place like this where everybody's talking. We don't realize a lot of times our children are paying a whole lot more attention than we think they are. So for those of you all who are free this morning, please come out. And I look forward to seeing you all at 11:30. I have 2 events right now. I've got to jump off my live and go to 2 events, and then I'll be in the park. So that'll be my 3rd event. And then there's one more event this evening, and that event is called Harris for Harris. They are holding a fundraiser for the president. But you all, every single county in the state of Florida where there's early voting taking place and where you have people on the ballot that are closest to you, it is important that you all get out and go vote. Do not miss this opportunity to put people in place where you want them to be. School board, county commission, public defender's office, state attorney's office, all of those offices that are on your ballot. These people need you. They're your local people who are closest to you. None of us who are going into the November election will be on your ballot. So people, don't be surprised that you don't see any of our names on the ballot, on your ballot this time. We don't come up until November when we have a Republican colleague running against us. So thank you all. Be a blessing to someone else, and someone will be a blessing to you. And for those of you all who've joined me after I got kicked off, I want to thank you all. Thank you so much. Good morning, Sheila. Thank you for joining me this morning. John Quell, I thank you. Eastside Preparatory, good morning. And I'm Gilbert, and to all of you all who I didn't get an opportunity to say good morning to previously. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you all later today. I will be live from the park. I will be in the park about 11:30, and I will be going live. I want you all to see and enjoy some of the festivities even from home, but I need you to go to the poll. If you don't come there, do not miss this election, you all. The numbers are so low, and we have thousands more people who are registered who can vote. I don't know what else to say to you, but all I can say is, you all, we got to make this happen. We have got to change we got to change what these numbers look like. Let me just say this to you all before I get off of here. If you all fail to vote, understand that's why you fail to get services in your communities when you need them. Voting is critically important, and the people who sit in these seats pay attention to the numbers and what precincts they're coming out of and where people are voting. If you're not a voting bloc, they're not concerned that you'll unseat them. That's not important to them. So when you're looking for services locally and you can't get them, it's because you've not been using your vote. Don't tell me votes don't count, because I can promise you every single one does count. And when we begin to vote in block, in primaries, with the people that are closest to you and at home, you will begin to see a difference in your community. I promise you that. Okay, you all, I've got to go. Thank you all for joining me this morning. As I said, be a blessing to someone else, and someone